Can neurofeedback create long-term brain changes? I'm Dr. Trish Lee. Let me answer that for you. There is a new study using fMRI, functional magnetic resonance imaging, neurofeedback, that shows definitively, visually, that over the course of multiple sessions, and in this particular study, it was only 11 sessions of neurofeedback, which is totally awesome. But over the course of a number of sessions, that indeed the brain performance pattern improves. And what it shows is that in the right frontal cortex, which this is the area that's most implicated in ADHD, it's the area for attention right here. So in this area, when neurofeedback was run for adolescents with ADHD, on the first run, there was lower activation. The brain was running slower and it wasn't using enough perfect processing speed for cognitive processing, information processing, attention, working memory, sensory processing, executive function, all that good stuff. 11 sessions later, there was more activation in that area. And you can see it on the image that that area was underactive and then it had more activity, meaning that it's using more power and more better brain processing speed. So now it can focus. It's not distracted. It can plan and organize. It can work with information in memory for the short run so that it can apply it and be able to learn or to be able to be productive. Now, here's the coolest thing about this study is that they did a transfer study where they looked to see later on if those changes stuck around. And indeed, not only did the changes stick around with more activation, over time there was even greater magnitude of activation. There was even more activation without more neurofeedback. And if you've watched any of my other videos on the positive feedback loop for consistent change and riding off into the sunset, that is how neurofeedback works. And I'm going to explain it to you briefly. But basically, when you have your first neurofeedback session, your brain is learning to make more of perfect processing speed and to decrease that slow speed production. That's happening on session 1, and we always call it push-ups for the brain because we'll see the brain going into using the more optimal pattern, and that's like, when you're pushing down, and then we'll see it go out of the zone, in the zone, out of the zone, in the zone. Then when you keep coming back for more neurofeedback sessions, it's going to be in the zone more and more and more, and out of the zone less and less. So then, this is the important part, then what happens is when your brain is making more perfect processing speed in your sessions, it's able to make more perfect processing speed outside of your sessions. So what that means now is your brain is running in a different mode, a better mode for better attention and better behavior, which gets you better outcomes. Things are easier in your life. You can get your homework done. You go to work and you get more done. So now you can have your evenings free. Then what happens is because you're using the better brain pattern and you're being rewarded for it in the real world, your brain will start producing even more of that better brain pattern. It's called Hebb's Law. Neurons that fire together wire together. The more you use it, the more it's going to be able to be used. Simultaneously, you're unwiring that pattern of slow processing speed through anti-Hebbian learning theory, which means if you don't use that ADHD pattern anymore, it's going to unwire itself. So a month later, when we test your brain using EEG or fMRI, and we see what your brain is doing, how it's performing, it will be performing better even though you didn't have more neurofeedback. So the way that plays out in my office is that I'll work with someone through their neurofeedback program and their brain will get better and better and better. Then when we check in with them 3 or 6 months later, we want to know how things are going, and we measure their brain again through a maintenance session. And when we do a maintenance session, we can see that indeed their brain is performing even better than their last neurofeedback session in their program. And it just confirms there's no regression and they are still moving forward with a positive feedback loop for permanent change. That is how neurofeedback can create lasting success from within, from changing your brain pattern so that your symptoms reduce, you have better behaviors, it becomes a self-rewarding system, and you ride off into the sunset. If you'd like more information about that, visit my blog post at drtrishlee.com, or you can check out my personal neurotraining programs using the most affordable option for neurofeedback that's out there that you can do in your home. If you're interested in professional services, you can visit my website at leebrainandspine.com for home brain mapping and for high-grade, individualized home neurofeedback. So visit my websites, and if you have any questions, please let me know. And remember, control your brain or it'll control you.